Hello, hello. How's everyone doing? I said I would do a video um, based on my last story that I put up, which surprisingly to me, and I was very, very surprised with the response that I had from the Insta fam. It was probably, I must have had about 40, 40 to 50 people reply, actually probably more than that. Because they didn't know that this kind of shit happened. Let me explain what the story was for those of you who don't know. I'm arranging to go and see a client. Been emailing the daughter just to arrange time, address, and so on. And then we set a date. She said, "Yeah, come to the house." And then as I screenshot the email, she blurred out the names and the address details. And she said something along the lines of, "Can you come to this address instead? My brother has kicked my mum out." And for me, it was like I knew they had issues, and I was like, "Okay, that's fine, not a problem." But when I screenshot that, took all the details out and I shared it on my story, but the reason why I did that is like just to say, this is what I deal with, and it does happen. But for most of you, it was such a shock. They were like, "I can't believe I'm reading this." One person wrote, "I had to read it 2, 3 times just to see like if this was true or if there's a mistake." But unfortunately, guys, I see this every week. For me, when I speak to a client or I go and see them for the first time, and they say, "Yep, so this is a situation, we don't trust our son, we don't trust our daughter." In my head, it's like, "Oh, okay, so I'm dealing with this situation now." And I've got processes in place which should minimise any people claiming against the estate or contesting against their parents' will after they pass away. But sometimes it's past that. They've been given the wrong advice, or they've been talking to friends and they've literally fucked up because they listen to other people. And I get a lot of pub wills, I call them, where you got the Bundy around the pub table. Well, this is pre-COVID, when they say, "Oh, you don't need a will, or you don't need a trust, you don't need a power of attorney. I've got this. You don't need any of that." So I call that pub will because they've decided that they're going to make a simple will, or they don't need it because they've had legal advice in a pub. But anyway, so it all comes down to, first of all, education. And secondly, it comes down to coercion. And what I mean by that is, so I've made a list of scenarios and situations that I've come across. What I put up, there's obviously 2 sides to every story. That one in particular is to do with the son. He's in the wrong here because it's a greed of money. And I completely understand sometimes parents are wrong as well. But we always tend to focus on the kids kicking out the parents, because how can you do that to someone who's old, in their 70s and 80s? It's not right. And again, on the flip side is the parents don't have any right to treat their kids badly, or the daughter-in-laws badly. So there's always 2 sides to every story. And I'm not siding with the children, and I'm not siding with the parents. I'm just merely sharing my experiences. But I've only got a few examples here. But it all comes down to, firstly, when I have clients that say to me, "Raj, I want to transfer my house into my son's name or my daughter's name." Okay. Why do you want to do that? "Oh, just to save money on tax, or just to help them, and that's what I want to do." Okay. Who told you to do that? Oh, एक pregnancy मेरा or pregnancy नाल काम करदी, you know, she works for me, she's done this. So if anyone approaches me to say, I want to transfer my house, my whole house, to my children's name, my first question is why? What are you trying to achieve here? Because what I'm going to share in a moment is the result of this. And that's the first one. This is where coercion comes from then. So parents don't fully understand the process of why the children are trying to get them to transfer property into their name. So they're coercing their parents, they're putting pressure on them. So they're like, okay, I don't understand, but I trust you, son. Right, where do I sign? Right, sign here. That means the house is no longer theirs, it belongs to the son. Some of you might be thinking, no, my parents aren't like that. They're very clued on or switched on and so on. I've come across a few cases where the solicitors are corrupt, where they are friends with the son or friends with the daughter, and they're like, don't worry, I'll deal with it. Just make sure I get my cut after. So you get corrupt legal professionals as well. And I've dealt with this and I've seen it as well. I'll give you one example where clients are, so there's an auntie up north, she saw my advert on the telly, on the Gar channel, and she said, you know, I want to make a will. My son lives 2 doors down, but make sure you're not wearing a suit, you know, you're not carrying your briefcase, you're not looking like all professional. I was like, okay, why is that then? He goes, if my son finds out I'm making a will, he will kill me. I was like, right, okay. I said, don't worry, auntie, I'll come in jeans and a hoodie, you know, dressed like this. And she said, oh, your car's not branded with all your logos, is it? No. If you can do, I live here, my son lives here, but if you can park before my house, not past his, that'll be easier because I'm afraid. Wow, okay. And I just went to see her, and she was literally shit scared of her son. He was abusive physically, mentally. He threatened to throw her down the stairs. She was literally in tears. Sat down in front of me. We started off the conversation fine. She told me what she wanted, and then she just went all quiet. And then she just burst into tears. She goes, I hate living like this. I'm so scared. For me, I do not emotionally get involved when it comes to seeing clients or in their situation. I just do not involve myself. I'm there to provide a service and make sure things are easy for the family members after they pass away. And it's very hard sometimes. It's very hard. And this auntie, you know, she was very upset, very distraught. One daughter lives in Canada, another daughter lives in Australia, and it's a son. Because you know how it goes in our culture, the son is always going to look after the parents. This is why everyone wants a goddamn son, because, you know, they carry on the freaking family name. But when they do shit like this to their parents, you know, fucking, what use is the name? You know, you got to respect, you know, your parents, especially in this case. And sometimes a meeting should only take me an hour and so on. So this one took me 2 hours because she just wanted to talk. She said, but I've got no friends. My children, you know, don't talk to me. They're all busy with their own lives and families. And my son, you know, he's just there. He opens all my posts, makes sure, you know, he knows what's coming in, what's going out. And I was like, damn, man, you know, this is no way for anyone to live. This is no way for anyone to live. And I see a lot of this. It's going to be surprising for many of you, but this is on the rise, especially since lockdown started last year. Lockdown started in March, couldn't go out, couldn't go to work, couldn't do nothing. So what did people turn to? Drink. A lot of Asian males turn to drink because they're depressed, mental health issues, and what was the easiest way to escape? Alcohol. That's massively on the increase. Unfortunately for some, it's gone too far down the line, and they're finding it very difficult to come out. And there's been cases where the parents have said, look, we've got one son, one daughter. We want to give everything equally because we love our children, but our son, he's an alcoholic. He's got a drinking problem. What can we do to protect him? There are ways around that. You can set up trusts, and what that means is 50-50 son and daughter. Son's share goes into a trust where the daughter and somebody else are trustees, so they manage that for him. So they make sure it's fully protected and he doesn't drink it away, even though those assets are his. So that's massively on the increase. Not just for drinking alcohol, gambling as well. So let me give an example for a daughter, because you're probably thinking, it's the sons, but no, I've had daughters do this as well. Dad's passed away, everything's gone to mum. Mum's got a few properties worth about just under $1 million. Son and daughter don't get on, they clash heads. Son's got mental health issues, daughter takes care of everything, deals with all the properties, estate agents, bills, etc. and so on. She is trying to get the mum to make a will, and she's trying to get mum to pass the properties on to her because she deals with the whole estate and all the property management, etc. She saw my details online and she told me the situation. I was like, okay, that's fine, I'll speak to her. And when I was there, she was trying to convince and coerce, put pressure on mum. Mum was clearly upset and distraught because at the beginning of the meeting, I always ask, are you happy for your son and daughter to be there? She was like, yeah, not a problem. But I caught the way through. I said, excuse me, daughter, can you please step out the room? I need to speak to mum one-on-one. I spoke to mum one-on-one and she said, this was a big mistake. I want another meeting, but just us two. Can we come to your office? Can I come to your office? I was like, yeah, not a problem. A couple of weeks later, she came to the office and she said, look, this is the situation. I used to get the X amount of rent every month, but now my daughter takes care of it. I hardly get anything. So she's keeping every single penny, and she's trying to put pressure on me to keep that she wants the 5-6 properties under her name. Okay. Daughter's ringing me because she initially contacted me saying, okay, what's going on? What decision has mum made? I need to make sure that this goes into my name. When there's something happens to me, then it goes to my daughters, not my brother's kids, because they don't talk to her anymore and whatnot. I thought, hold up. First, I can't tell you anything because it's mum's will and it's private to her. And secondly, if you want to know anything, you need to contact your mum. I still haven't done mum's will because mum is torn. And she's broken down in front of me a couple of times saying, I'm really hurt. Why can't my children get on? Why is she doing this to me? My job, I can't make, I can't give my opinion. I can only give advice. So I'm still waiting for that one. There's another one where in lockdown, I did this couples wills about a couple of years ago. Everything's fine, hunky-dory. And then she contacted me a couple of days ago because at that time, everything goes 50-50 son and daughter. Contacted me a few weeks ago to say I need to update my will urgently. I need to cancel my lasting power of attorney urgently and make a new one. What's happened? Went to see her. son had bought a house under his name, said, Mom, Dad, sell your house, keep the money in your bank account, but come and live with us. And they were like, no, we're okay, we're fine. They said, no, come on, let's live together as a big happy family. They moved in, things went pear-shaped, they didn't get on. It was mom and dad versus son, daughter-in-law. And son decided to sell the house, move elsewhere, and mom and dad were like, okay, well, right, what do we do? He's like, it's not my problem. Their money was tied up somewhere. They couldn't access the money. So they were living with family members. And this was during lockdown when you couldn't go to relatives' houses, families' houses, friends. You couldn't go anywhere. But they had no choice. Now I spoke to her. I've met up with her to redo her will, power of attorney. And then now the daughter-in-law has come around and said, look, right, forget what's happened, just come and live with us. The son is so stubborn, he doesn't talk to his parents, and he goes, if you want to live with me, right, your room is at the top, and here are the list, here's a rules of what you can and cannot do. And I was like, blimey, bloody hell. And he said, don't ever step 1 foot into my living room. Don't even talk to the children. Don't do this, don't do that. Washing machine goes on this time. You wash your clothes at that time. And mom and dad like, fuck man, this is our son, you know? And then we wanted to give our son everything. And they did in their first will. Now all the money to him, properties to him. And they're thinking, wow, this is what he's doing to us. And when I went to see her, she literally broke down and said, look, we are so scared that I have trouble sleeping at night time. When I hear the door close in the middle of the night, he's obviously come back, he's had a few to drink, and I'm scared that he's going to break the door down and kill us. Wow. You know, there's your son, you know, the one that you thought was going to look after you, take care of you. And this is what he's doing. So they're living there temporarily until they've got a house on rent, but the tenant has been the right arsehole. He's not leaving, he's not paying the rent or anything. So they're served in Section 21. They're trying to get him out, go to court because of COVID, everything's delayed. But that's another example of how some children treat their parents. But I'm going to give you one more because I know I've been waffling on a bit. I had one, Mr. Singh, he contacted me, he saw my advert on the car channel, and he said, Raj, I need to make a will. But okay, that's fine. Uncle, what's your address? He gave me the address. Hang on. Gave me the address. And as I pulled into the development, I thought, I think he's given me the wrong address. Double checked on my phone. I thought, no, this is right. So I was driving around, and just through the window, I saw the back of his the star, and I thought, oh, that must be him. Pulled up into the small drive, knocked on the door, and I thought, oh, such a uncle. I thought I had the wrong address. He goes, no, come and sit down. And we sat down. Gave me chai, had small sip, pakodi, and everything there. And I said, okay, Uncle, how can I help? I need to make a will, but here's my story. Just briefly, I'm just going to tell you briefly. He was living in a house with his wife, his son, daughter-in-law, grandchildren. And he goes, it's a 4-bedroom house. And the son and daughter-in-law were saying, Dad, you know what, let's get a bigger house because we want to have more children. I think we're going to outgrow this one. And he's like, no, son, this is big enough for all of us. Even if you have another child, it's big enough. They're like, no, let's have a bigger house. And then about a few months later, he's like, all right, okay. They saw a house, son and daughter-in-law put the house under their names. Once everything went through, got the keys to the house, son wrote a check, 30 grand, ripped it off. Dad, here you go. Dad was like, it's okay, son, you know, I don't need any money from this, you know, as long as we're all happy together, that's the main thing. He's like, no, Dad, 30 grand, bye-bye, see you later. Dad was like, what? He goes, we don't need you. What do you mean? He goes, no, don't need you anymore, now get out of my house. Dad's like all baffled, thinking, what's going on? And where was he supposed to go? So when he gave me the address and I was driving around looking for it, Dad, with the money that he had hardly any savings, just 30 grand check, Dad had to buy himself a caravan. So Dad is now living in a caravan with the money that his son gave him. And he's thinking, this is my life now. He's living in a freaking caravan while his son, his daughter-in-law, and his wife, his own wife, has kicked him out. They're living in a 5-bedroom house while he's living in a 1-bed caravan. I'm like, shit. You know, he 74 years old. 74 years old. Can't believe it. I honestly can't believe it. This is the kind of stuff, what the love of money does to you. Not money, what money does to you, because everyone needs money for, you know, for things, to live, for food, etc. But when you fall in love with money, this is what it does to you. But I'll tell you one thing now, for those of you who are doing this to parents, you're going to leave it all behind. You can't take it with you. You can't take the house with you. You can't take the cars, the money, whatever it is, you cannot take it with you. And it is sad. It is very, very, very sad. But this is life, and it does happen. And this is why I always say to parents, you know, I mean, the kids are sat there, I said, do you know what? You got this money, this much money, you got this house, go on holidays, man, you know, spend it, enjoy it. Ask gotta, you know, because the kids, let them learn how to make their own money. Because nowadays, like my generation, our generation, are dependent on parents' hard-earned money, savings, properties. So I always say, do you know what? Just let them be. Why don't you go and enjoy it? Go on holidays. I know it's difficult now because of COVID, but I'm like, just go and enjoy it. This is my experience, what I've seen firsthand when I go to meetings, and now there is that other flip side where parents are arseholes to their children for whatever reason. For whatever reason it is. They're mean to their daughter-in-laws, you know, they're mean to their son. But it does happen. It does happen. And not everyone is going to agree with me on this video, but I'm just telling you from what I've experienced and what I've seen. And unfortunately, for me, it happens more where the children take advantage of the parents. But again, the parents expect the son to take care of them. But should anyone expect anything of anyone? Should parents expect their children to look after them when they're older? Should children expect inheritance from their parents after they pass away? That's a video for another day. Sorry if I've waffled on, but I just felt as if I had to share this video because there was a lot of people that were shocked about the story that I put up, and it happens a lot. Anyway, have a great evening. Love you, leave you. Take care.